Hello and welcome back to English Shadowing Podcast, your place to listen, repeat, shadow, and learn English at a slow, natural pace. I'm Alex, and I'm happy you're here. In this episode, I speak slowly. I use clear, simple words, and I repeat ideas so you can shadow my voice, practice your speaking, and build your confidence step by step. Today, we will talk about how to stay motivated to learn English. Not just quick tips, but full ideas. What keeps you going when learning feels hard? What happens when you lose interest? What is your motivation routine like? By the end of this episode, you will be able to think about your motivation in English using clear and natural sentences. Let's begin. Why is it important to practice staying motivated in English learning? It's important because motivation is real. It's something that affects you every day. You know it well. You don't need to search for big reasons or ideas. You don't need to talk about exams, jobs, or travel. You just need to talk about your own feelings. You can say why you started learning, what makes you happy. You can say if you feel excited, frustrated, tired, or inspired. Here's the best part. When you describe your own motivation, you're practicing real English, useful English, English that you can use with yourself or others in real life. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to try. When you talk about your motivation, you begin to think in English. You begin to speak more naturally. You use simple, complete sentences. You stop doubting yourself, and you feel more confident when learning. Let's take an example. Imagine you are talking to a study buddy. They ask, "Why do you learn English? Why do you learn English?" If you've practiced before, you can answer. You can say, "I learn English to talk with friends. It makes me happy. When I feel tired, I watch fun videos." Now, that's a full conversation. That's real encouragement. And that is your goal. Even if you are alone, even if you're not in a group, even if you feel discouraged, you can still practice English by talking about your motivation. So whenever you don't know how to keep going, start with something simple. Why did I start learning today? What makes me excited? What did I achieve? Where did I struggle? What will I do next? These are good questions. They help you remember positive words. They help you build strong learning habits. They help you think in full sentences without pressure. You can do this in the morning to plan your motivation. You can do this in the evening to review your progress. You can even write it down and read it back. The key is to keep it simple. Use the English you know. Don't worry about low days. Just speak. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. One reason today, 2 reasons tomorrow, a whole motivation story next week. So today, let's build that skill together, step by step, word by word, one real sentence at a time. Okay, let's start at the beginning of motivation. The reasons why you learn. Reasons are a very important part of your motivation. They set the goal. They give you purpose. And they're a perfect way to speak and think in English, even for a few minutes. Now, let's practice some simple reason sentences together. If you'd like, repeat each one slowly. Just like shadowing. I learn English to travel the world. Now, if you want, try repeating that. Sometimes I learn to watch movies without subtitles. Now you can repeat if you'd like. If I stop learning, I feel sad about my progress. I think about my goals for a few minutes and feel better. I like to take a moment and list my reasons. Then I feel ready again. I go to my notebook and write my top reasons. I write slowly and carefully for 2 reasons. Then I read them aloud. It helps me stay focused. Sometimes I share my reasons with a friend, especially if I feel low. When I share, I like to add details or listen to their stories. After sharing, I feel stronger and put on my plan. I try to keep my reasons clear and positive. Positive. Sometimes my reasons are about family or work. If I have doubts, I find new reasons. Next, I move to my study spot and start my practice. I usually do something easy, like listening to a song or reading a short text. Sometimes I watch a video with simple words. If I have more energy, I shadow a full conversation. I like to practice without rush so I can enjoy it. I drink water most sessions. Sometimes I drink coffee because it keeps me alert. While practicing, I sometimes note new words or check my app. Other days, I just focus on the sound and listen to quiet music. Before I finish, I think about my success. I look at what I learned and feel proud. I review my notes to see if I improved. I pack my mind with positive thoughts, my goals, reasons, and small wins. Then I close my session and step forward. Okay, let's shadow a story. My motivation routine. In this part, I will tell you a short story about my motivation. You can listen, then shadow each sentence if you'd like. You can pause after each line to repeat it slowly. Are you ready? Let's begin. In my motivation time, I usually start at around 8 o'clock. Sometimes I start earlier if I feel low. I sit quietly for a few minutes and think about my why. I list my reasons, take a breath, and slowly feel stronger. Then I open my journal and write my top goals for 2 minutes. After that, I read them with a positive voice. It really helps me stay motivated. If I doubt myself, I remember past wins. I often think of small steps while I motivate. It makes me calm and ready. After thinking, I choose a practice and check my progress in the mirror. Next, I begin my session and start learning. I usually shadow a few sentences with care, and sometimes I add a new word. I take a big breath of fresh air. That's very important to me in motivation. While thinking, I sit by the light and look inside. Sometimes I feel energy rising, and I enjoy the strong moment. Before I end, I check my goals. I make sure I have a plan, my reasons, my steps, and sometimes a reward. Finally, I close my journal, feel good, and continue my day. Okay, let's say a few final practice sentences together. Again, you can repeat right after me if you'd like. Every motivation session is a little different, but I try to follow a good pattern. When I motivate with English, I feel more excited. I'm proud of my efforts, and I will keep going. Now, let's move to the challenges, the hard parts of learning. Many people face challenges in learning. Some feel bored, some get stuck, some lose hope. Whatever you face, challenges are a good time to build motivation. Even if they're tough, you can still think, you can still encourage, you can still practice, even for just 5 or 10 minutes. Let's learn some common challenge sentences together. If you'd like, repeat after me, slowly and clearly. When I feel bored, I change my topic. Sometimes I feel stuck after a hard lesson. I review my notes and try again. I often read stories from other learners. I usually take a break when I feel low. Sometimes I talk to a friend to get ideas. If I doubt, I remember my small wins. I like to list 3 good things about my progress. In the low time, I sit quietly and breathe deeply. I see hope outside and feel better. Then I go back to practice until I improve. I check my growth and feel strong. At the end of the challenge, I feel tired but proud. Now, let's shadow a challenge story. My challenge routine. Listen first, then shadow each sentence if you'd like. Pause to repeat slowly. Ready? Let's go. In a challenge, I notice it at about midday. Sometimes I feel it sooner if learning is hard. I stop for a few minutes and think about the problem. I list my feelings, take a breath, and slowly find a way. After that, I open my app and search for tips. It really helps me move forward. If I feel down, I call a study pal. I often share my struggle while I talk. It makes me feel supported and ready. After sharing, I try a new method alone. I practice an easy task or review basics. I take a short rest to clear my mind. During the rest, I drink water and look out. I see progress outside and feel calm. Then I return to learning until evening. I check my steps and feel good. At the end, I end the challenge and plan ahead. Okay, let's practice a few more sentences. If you'd like, repeat after me. Challenges are hard but helpful. I learn from my low times. I'm happy when I overcome them. Now, let's go to the successes, the good parts of learning. Successes are when many people feel joy. Some celebrate, some share, some keep going. It's a good time to use English in a happy way. Let's practice some success sentences. Repeat if you'd like. In success, I finish at 9 o'clock. I change into rest mode. I note my wins in my journal. I make simple lists like goals met. Sometimes I share if I'm excited. I eat with joy or alone. We talk about wins while celebrating. After that, I relax my mind. Then I plan for more. I like to thank myself and rest. If I have strength, I learn a bit more. I like to message a pal and share. Before rest, I set for tomorrow. I feel the success and sleep well. Now, let's shadow a success story. My success routine. Listen and shadow if you'd like. Ready? In success, I notice it at about evening. Sometimes I feel it sooner if I achieve fast. I pause for a few minutes and smile about the win. I list my joys, take a breath, and slowly celebrate. Then I open my log and write my good points for 2 minutes. After that, I read them with a happy voice. It really helps me stay positive. If I doubt past, I recall this win. I often think of next steps while I celebrate. It makes me eager and ready. After thinking, I share with a friend or group. I tell a short tale or send a note. I take a moment to rest with joy. During the rest, I sip a drink and look back. I feel pride inside and feel calm. Then I plan for tomorrow until night. I check my growth and feel strong. At the end, I close my day happy. Okay, that's our practice for motivation.